This podcast is hosted by RPP.
If you are easily spooked, creeped, or offended, this might not be the podcast for you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to I Think My Fridge is Haunted. My name is Gemma, here on my own today. Unfortunately, no one to chat to except for all of you guys, and I know you guys are just as obsessed with this case as I am. So it's been another big week in the mushroom trial. This is week 3. I was actually calculating the other day. They said that this trial was said to go for, apparently it will be going for 6 weeks. And if that's true, when it ends, I'm going to be in Bali the following week. So I can just forget all about this because I've been obsessed. It's too much. I can't live like this. We begin the 3rd week of this trial with a statement from a friend of Erin Patterson's son. So you remember the kids were told they were going out to see a movie with a friend the day of the lunch. The friends stayed the night at Erin's Leongatha home on July 28th, the night before. They went to the movies, so that's Erin's children and the son's friend. And then they came back to the house, they saw all the lunch guests and said hi, and the friend said, Erin just seemed like her normal self to me. So that wasn't too eventful. Next we had the flying instructor, and his name is Ulysses Villalobos, which is fabulous. He said that he was supposed to give Erin's son a flying lesson the day after the lunch. And there was a quote from him saying that Erin, quote, was a typical mum taking her son to his flying lesson. Just between you and me, I don't know how typical that is. I didn't have flying lessons, and I don't know many people whose kids do. Make of that what you will. So this is Ulysses, the flying lesson teacher, the flying teacher. He rang Erin to cancel the lesson due to bad weather and says that she got grumpy with him for not calling her earlier, as she'd had to drive all the way to Tayab, which is a good hour or so from Corumburra, maybe hour and 15, something like that. We also heard from a Dr. Rhonda Stewart. Now, Dr. Stewart is a doctor at Monash Health, and that's the second hospital that Erin was transferred to with her children. Now, Dr. Stewart, she's also a director of infection prevention and epidemiology. She's a smart lady. She tells the court that she interviewed Erin a few days after the lunch just to get some more information about what's happening. So Dr. Stewart meets Erin, who's also there with Simon and the children in the emergency department of Monash Hospital. Now, how about this? Before they went in for the interview, Erin asked if the family could be excused while she was interviewed. What's that about? Now, Erin gives the same answers to Dr. Stewart as she gives to everybody. She's had gastro symptoms, and of course that she got the mushrooms from an Asian grocer. Now, this part I found kind of funny. Dr. Stewart made a comment to Erin that it was nice that she made lunch for her ex-husband's family. I thought that was kind of a shady comment to make. What do you guys think? Erin told her, no, it's not unusual at all, and she still had a good relationship with them. Did she though? After the interview, Dr. Stewart goes to personnel at the hospital, asks to look at Erin's records, and she sees that her blood work has come back just fine. She's not sick with anything. But Dr. Stewart wasn't the only witness to be shady towards Erin. We also heard from Dr. Laura Muldoon, who is an emergency registrar at Monash Health. Dr. Muldoon was asked if she had made any observations on Erin's health back on that day when she met with her on 31st of July 2023. And she replied, she had some chapped lips, but otherwise looked well. Moving on. The court was shown a photo of the beef Wellington leftovers that were taken from Erin's outside bin by police. The lunch remains were sent to Monash Health, where they were photographed, and then they were sent by taxi to the Botanical Gardens in Melbourne. Meanwhile, a Dr. Varuna Raghu told the court that Erin's tests had all come out fine, that she was showing no signs of toxicity, and she was discharged from the hospital on 1st of August. So that's 3 days after the lunch. She was discharged at either 10:14 a.m. or around 1 p.m. Both times have been reported in different articles. Now, before we get back to the analysis of those leftovers at the Botanical Gardens, let's talk about Dr. May. He's a mycologist from the National Herbarium of Victoria, and he's one of the top fungi experts in Victoria. He takes the stand over 2 days. Also, at this point, I could tell that the journalists covering the case and doing the live updates online were a bit bored. It was very science heavy, and they were just basically talking about mushrooms in the wild and what they look like, and it was very drawn out. But Dr. May told the court about a website called iNaturalist. And on this website, people, hobbyists, you don't have to be an expert, can take photos of wild mushrooms that they think might be edible, non-edible, poisonous. You can take a photo, you can upload it to the website along with the GPS location of where they are. Cross-examined by both the prosecution and the defence, Dr. May admits that mushroom identification is difficult, even for experts. Now, the prosecution have alleged that one of Erin's phones went to one of these locations and narrowed it down very, very specifically to where some of these mushrooms had been found. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Botanical Gardens. This was interesting. The leftovers were looked at under microscope by a lady named Camille Truong. Now, Dr. Truong is a mycologist, and she works at the Botanical Gardens in Melbourne. And they had sent the leftovers to her by taxi, and they arrived fairly late in the day, around 5 p.m. So she took them home, looked at them under a microscope, and then the following day she took them back to the Botanical Gardens and looked under a different microscope. Now, she found that the beef Wellington taken from Erin Patterson's rubbish bin did not have death cap mushrooms in it. And at this point, when we hear this, we're thinking, how is the prosecution going to explain this? Everybody's talking about this meal 1, meal 2, that there's one meal that was poisoned, there was meal 2 that was not poisoned, and maybe the leftovers in the bin were from meal 2. Well, enter Dr. Gerastamalos. I hope I'm saying that right. If not, I will call you Dr. G. I'm so sorry. He is one of the state's top forensic analysts, experts. Now, Dr. G says, of course, Dr. Truong did not find any death cap mushrooms in those leftovers that she looked at under a microscope. The reason for that is they need to be tested forensically in a lab. He told the court that the lab works in identifying the specific toxins present in the mushrooms themselves rather than looking for pieces of the mushrooms. So it's almost like the mushroom secretes this certain enzyme, whatever you want to call it. That's what they want to be looking for. Now, Dr. G says that even if the mushrooms were liquefied or turned into a powder, the toxins would still be detectable. So at this point, I'm like, please tell me that they were sent to a lab for testing. Thank God, yes, they were. Death cap toxins were found in late August 2023 in the beef Wellington leftovers. It was actually found in the mushroom paste and the meat itself. Furthermore, when they tested that dehydrator that Erin said she knew nothing about, the toxins were also present inside that. This is another thing I found interesting, and one thing I had been wondering about. Dr. G was asked, what is the lethal dose from a death cap mushroom? He is the head of forensic science at the Victorian Institute of Forensic Medicine, and he's also the state's chief toxicologist. So he kind of knows what he's talking about. And he said, so for a 70-kilo adult, it's about 3 tablespoons. I was surprised at that. I thought it would just be a tiny amount. It's actually a fair amount. Furthermore, he confirmed that the toxins were found in Don Patterson's urine. It was not detected in his blood samples or any of the post-mortem samples, and that's because he says the toxins are quickly eliminated from the blood, and if a sample is not taken within 24 to 30 hours, it is, quote, very unlikely that the toxins will be detected. So the toxins can leave your body, but the effects are already there. However, it remains in the urine until the urine leaves the body, which is interesting because Gail Patterson's results show no death cap toxins. However, no urine was collected from her. So it could have been there. We're not really sure. Ian Wilkinson also tested positive for the presence of death cap toxins. Now, his wife Heather, her results showed no toxins, even though her urine was collected. But as Dr. G suggested, the toxins are quickly eliminated from the blood, so it may have left the body already. Especially if they're losing a lot of fluid. You know, with the stomach upset, the vomiting, they're going to be losing a lot of fluid. So I would presume it would be likely that those toxins would be eliminated that way. Side note here, the prosecution has said that they think that Erin Patterson has been using 2 phones and also 2 separate SIM cards in the weeks before the deadly lunch. Now, her second phone has never been recovered by police. Now, it's interesting that she cleared her phone back to factory settings around this time after the lunch, in the days after the lunch, because they found out that on May 21st, 2023, an iNaturalist user posted a photo and location of death cap mushrooms in Outram, which is near where Erin Patterson lived. The next day, on 22nd of May, Erin's mobile phone data suggests that she travelled to Outram. It doesn't look good. Yesterday, we also saw CCTV footage from the tip, and it showed a woman driving up to the e-waste shed in a red 4-wheel drive. It shows a woman getting out of the car, taking something to the shed, going back to the car, and leaving. So more damning evidence there. We know she took the dehydrator to the tip. She's already admitted this. Everybody knows it. Now, remember that cancer that she had, that she told everybody that she had at the lunch? All those people that she thought was going to be dead and that were going to take that ridiculous lie with them to the grave? Well, the next witness called to the box was Professor Andrew Burston. Professor Burston is an intensive care specialist, and he was supplied with medical records relating to Erin Patterson. He was asked, is there sufficient evidence in Erin Patterson's medical files to support the assertion that she was diagnosed with cancer? He replied, I could not find evidence to affirm that statement. So there's no cancer. Again, we already knew this, but we've got a professor saying it's true. I feel like he's the only doctor to actually admit that she had some kind of actual stomach upset. Quote, I thought there was evidence that she had a diarrheal illness. So when I heard this, I thought, well, who's to say she hasn't microdosed herself and that it's already left her body, that's why it didn't come up in tests. But would she have done that, do you think? I just don't think. I think she had the nervous poos. That's just my analysis. We also heard from a Child Protective Services officer, and her name was Miss Cripps. And she spoke to Erin in the days after the lunch, and Erin told her that there had been some conflict regarding child support payments. Ms. Cripps said she felt like that's the time that he, Simon, had become nasty towards her. Erin also said that she felt like she was being isolated from Simon's family, including his parents, and she said that Don and Gail were the parents that she hadn't had. My response to that is, if you break up with someone, you can't really expect to be included in the family anymore. And from Simon's perspective, is it so bad to limit your contact with your ex? It's like she won't go away. It's like they want her to go away or keep her at arm's length. She's like, no, I want to be in the family chat. No, I want to come to Christmas. No, you have to come to my place for lunch. Here's another fun thing that she said. Erin said that she'd found the beef Wellington recipe in a Recipe Tin Eats cookbook and that she wanted to do something new and special. Firstly, don't bring Nagi and Dozer into this. Just don't, okay? They've done nothing wrong to you. Secondly, lies. Lies again. We already know she asked the Facebook group how to make a beef Wellington. Now again, like she did with everybody else, she tells Ms. Cripps that she got the mushrooms from Woolworths and the Asian grocer that she cannot remember. She also told Ms. Cripps that the children had the leftovers from the lunch the following evening. Let's not forget that the grandparents are all in hospital quite ill from the lunch that she prepared, but she still gives the children the leftovers. That takes us back to the theory, meal 1, meal 2. Were the leftovers that she was giving the children actually from meal 2? Lastly, for this episode, it was very interesting to see last night that a jury member had been dismissed from the jury. The reason for this was apparently the court had had a tip-off that this jury member had been discussing the case with family and friends. I know it's a crazy case and you want to talk to everybody about it. You know, everybody wants to talk about this case, but if you're on a jury, you know, just hide. Just go back to your hotel, just hide out there for 6 weeks. Just be a total hermit. Just go to the court and go back to the hotel. Just don't tell anyone. You have to do this right. Like Mr. Cole and Mandy said, don't make your judgment until you've heard all the details. Certainly don't listen to my channel because I'm very biased. I think she did it. That's no lie. So if you've got this far in the video, maybe just turn it off, but subscribe first. So I was thinking, will this jury member be replaced this late in the game? Apparently no. They actually have more jury members than what they need. They have, at this point, now that one jury member has been sent away, they have 14 jury members. They only need 12. So towards the end of the trial, they will do some sort of ballot where 12 people will be selected. So no, that jury member apparently won't be replaced. And that's about all I got for today, you guys. Really want to hear your comments. I know a lot of people are following this case and a lot of people are sending me DMs, and thank you for that. It's awesome, but I won't be sorry when this trial is over. So until next time, you guys, be creepy, but don't be a creep.